Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tessie and today we'll be learning how to sew a palazzo pant. This pant is going to be very easy, simple and straightforward. So let's get right into it. So I folded my pattern paper into two, and from that point I have my waistline, and I came down to my hip line, and I came down to my crotch. To get your crotch line, it's going to be your hip divided by 4 inches plus half an inch, so you chalk it down. And from that point I have my knee line and I have the trouser length. So what I'll be doing next is on the hip line I'll place my hip measurements divided by 4 plus 1 inch sewing allowance. So I chalked my hip plus 1 inch sewing allowance, and from that point I'm just going to connect it to the waistline. So next on the crotch line, I'm going to divide my thigh measurement divided by 2 inches. So my thigh is 26, divided by 2 is 13. So I'll be adding 1 inches for stitching allowance. So you go ahead to add 1 inches. So I'll be checking 14 inches, and I'm just going to connect my crotch to the hip line using my curve ruler. So you connect, you can use your free hand or your curve ruler, anyone that works for you. So I went ahead to just blend the curve. So what I'll be doing next is on that waistline, I'll be taking my waist measurement from that line. So I placed my tape on that point and I chalked my measurement plus 1 inch sewing allowance. So what I'll be doing is connecting it to the hip line. So you just connect to the hip line just like this. So for the knee line, since it's a palazzo pant, we don't want it tight on that knee. So what I'll be doing is from that crotch line, I'm just going to connect a line straight down. So it's a free pant, so you just chuck it straight down just like this. So now on that waistline, I'll be coming down for my waist loop by 1 inches. So I'll just come down by 1 inches and I'm just going to connect it to the waistline just like this. Just watch what I'm doing. So after connecting it, we are done with the front part, as you can see. So now go ahead now to just cut it out. So now for the back, what I did was I folded my fabric, as you can see, I folded it into two, and I just placed my front pattern on the back. So what I will be doing is adding my allowance to the back measurement. So now on that waistline, I added 2 inches sewing allowance. On the hip line, I also added 2 inches sewing allowance. On my crotch line, I'm adding 2 inches sewing allowance. You can use 2.5, you can use 3, depend on how big you are. So I'm using 2 inches sewing allowance, and I'm just going to connect that 2 inches line. So after doing that, on the knee measurement, I'll also add 2 inches sewing allowance, and I'll just chop my 2 inches straight down, then connect it with a straight line. So after checking it out, that's what we have. So now I'll be working on the waist measurement. So on the waistline, we came down by 1 inches and we cut it out for the front pattern. So now for the back, what I'll be doing is I'll be going up on that waistline by 1.5 inches. You can go up by 2 inches if you're big, but I'll be going up by 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to connect my waistline for the back to that 1.5 inches. And from that 1.5 inches, I'm just going to make a line to meet the front waistline. So I'll just chuck it. And after checking it out, this is what we have for the front and for the back. So now I'll go ahead to just recap what I did for the back. I added 2 inches from the waist, also 2 inches from the hip, and I also added 2 inches for the crotch line. And on the knee, I added 2 inches and I just chucked it straight down. And I went up on the waist by 2 inches for the back pattern and connected it to the waistline. So this is what I have. So what I'll be doing now is just cutting it out. So guys, after cutting, you can see I have two pieces for the front and for the back. So now I'll be joining. So what I do is, the best way to join your pants to have the best result is just place one of the front and one of the back together. You're joining the front and the back together. So I placed my front on my back just like this. And what you'll be doing next is stitching half an inch straight down on the side. So I'll do the same thing for the other side. I placed my front on the back pattern just like this, and I will stitch straight from that waistline straight down to the M line. So guys, after stitching, this is what I have. So what I did was just open it up and I placed the two together just like this. So after placing it, what I'll be doing is, on my front part, as you can see, this is my front area. So what I'll do is stitch half an inch straight down to the crotch line. So after stitching my half an inch straight down to the crotch line, I just flipped it this way, and now I'll be taking my measurements. So from that line, I took my waist measurements divided by 2 inches, and I will chalk it down. So now I'm just going to place my tape from the waist, chalk where my hip is. So from that point, I will be taking my hip measurement divided by 2. So I placed my tape and chalked my hip measurement divided by 2, and I just chalked it there. So what you'll be doing next is connecting your waist measurement to the hip line, and from that hip line you just chalk half an inch straight down to the crotch line. On that waistline I have excess because I did not add that to it. I don't want that to it, so I'm just going to be stitching from that waistline straight down to the crotch line. So after stitching, this is what I have. So now what I'll be doing next is just, I'll open it up this way. You open it up this way and you join the both crotch line together. Make sure the two lines are meeting each other. That's the line that you stitched. So you just place them together just like this. So what I'll be doing is, from that line, I'm just going to place them together. Make sure they're together just like this. Then you stitch half an inch straight down. You do the same thing for the other parts. So guys, after stitching, this is what I have. As you can see, this is what it looks like. So now I'll be placing my zip on the sides. So you pick one of the side and you just open it up. So I'll open it up to wherever I want the zip to stop. So now for the band, I'm just going to mark out what I have on that waistline. So from this end, I'll chalk out what I have to the other end. So now I have 32.5 inches. So I'll go ahead now to cut my band. So after cutting my band, as you can see, I added paper stitch to it. So I chalked out 5 inches. On fold, it's going to be 2.5 inches. So when you fold it, 2.5. So I'll be using half an inch for stitch, while my normal band will be 2 inches. So I placed my band on my waistline. So I'll just go to my table and stitch round the waistline. After stitching, this is what I have, as you can see. So now I'll whip that part out. Then I'll be attaching my zipper to the trouser. So after stitching round, weaving, I'll attach my zip and I'll show you guys the effect. So guys, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So guys, I hope this tutorial was very helpful to you guys. I'll be dropping a tutorial on how to attach a pocket to your shorts. It's going to be very, very simple and straightforward. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye.